Today I have a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Kelvin Corelli, and who is basically hailing from the team at Simplero. He is the founder and CEO, and basically what they do is they help coaches and mentors transform lives at scale, right? So we've seen many coaches online, but now doing that at scale. So we're very curious to see how this actually works. What I really like, and I had a chat with Kelvin about that before. He considers himself a software engineer, serial entrepreneur, and spiritual teacher. So this is where the circle closes, where it matches really the mission that the team is up for. So Kelvin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lucas. I'm super glad to be here.
Very good. So maybe tell us about Simplero in your own words, to give its full justice. What is it all about?
It's all about saving time, money, and most importantly, mental bandwidth for the people who are out there selling, transforming lives. So coaches, consultants, trainers, speakers and authors, like anybody who's selling information or some things that don't need to be shipped using the postal system. Those are our clients. And what we do is we replace typically 7 to 8 other tools that people are using for their website, their email management, their landing pages, their shopping cart, their video hosting, their affiliate management system, their membership site, like all of those things we can eliminate and just replace all of it with Simplero, which A, does an amazing job, but B, also makes that mental cognitive overhead of logging into all these different systems and figuring out how they connect together. And, if one piece gets upgraded or you can't figure out why it doesn't work, you have to talk to like the customer service department of this team and that team, and they bounce you around, right? Or you become hostage to your tech guy who's the only person that knows how to do that stuff. And so there's all these ideas and creativity and inspiration that you never act on because it's just too complicated. So that's what we do for people.
Yeah, I think you have an amazing graphic on your website for everybody who's interested. You can head to simplero.com/pricing. They actually all the tools that you were just mentioning, what they would be worth, and then what Simplero offers in comparison. So everybody who's interested in it, I think it's just an amazing graphic in itself that very simplifies what you just were describing. So obviously coaches are using the technology. Is there like specific verticals? Is there a particular type of size of business of coaches? Is that individuals? Like, who would be using Simplero?
Yeah, it's typically smaller businesses from the solo entrepreneur, maybe like even a side hustle, up to, I think, like 15 people, 15, 20 people on the team. Those would be on the higher end. It's really any kind of topic from crochet to ukulele to singing to yoga to business to marketing to how to rent your place on Airbnb successfully to cryptocurrency, all kinds of things that people are teaching. And the key thing here is that people, the teachers, the trainers, the educators, the coaches are very often, this is their livelihoods for not just themselves, but we see then, the entrepreneur, a lot of female entrepreneurs actually who end up employing their husband or vice versa. So it's literally the livelihoods of their families. We also see a lot of them that end up after switching to Simplero because they end up simplifying their business so much that they can shrink their work hours down from working 5 days a week to working 3 days a week. So they have more time for their families, right? Like some of them have 5 kids maybe, right? And a business, and they're supporting their entire family. So it's really like, we're really blessed to do this work with these amazing people who are, not just creating a great life for themselves, but also really transforming other people's lives at scale.
Very good. And those individuals, right, that coaches that are out there to lift up their communities, how do they actually get to know about Simplero? What is a typical journey that somebody would be going through, or maybe the channels that would be moving along in order to get started?
The typical channel is either word of mouth, so just people being excited about Simplero and then sharing that with their friends, telling their friends about it, or they buy some product that someone else is selling using Simplero, and then they get curious about, hey, what platform are you using, and then they find it that way. And we do have a formalized partner program as well. So that's kind of in the word of mouth category. Sometimes, you know, a lot of the word of mouth that we get is just people sharing it. Some of it is you know, through our partner program. That's really what's working for us. What's always worked for us. Yeah, that's how people hear about us.
Very cool. What role does the website play if word of mouth is so prevalent and, you know, people learning about Simplero? What role do you attribute to the website?
I would say it's definitely important, and we're going through a redesign of the website right now because we're finding that our website is not very attractive to our ideal client. So you know, we're doing some upgrades on all of it, the copy and the design and everything else. And there's actually I've just gone through a process of personally interviewing 15, 20 of our best fit customers. We identified some of the people that were like, we would love to have like 1,000 more of each of you guys, right? So sitting down with them and really understanding where they're coming from, where were they before, and what is it they love about Simplero, what makes them excited about it. So that's been very, very helpful. And we're, you know, taking those insights and learnings and building a new website based on that.
Got you. Even with all these learnings, where do you see a strength at the moment that the website already entails?
The strength of the website currently, I am not sure.
Okay. So maybe flip it around.
I think the about page is actually something that a lot of people mention. Just the story which is just me telling the authentic, the real true story of how Simplero came to be, yeah. Which was that I had a moment in 2008 of really a life crisis, like that led me to question, what is it that I'm here to do? Up until that point, I'd always been chasing success. Like, I need to reach a certain level of success in order to feel okay about myself. And it wasn't working for me. It really wasn't. I was miserable and not very successful. And I was like, what is it that I'm really here to do? And so kind of like asking myself some questions and asking the universe the big question, if you will. And the answer arrived at me. I am here to integrate spirituality and entrepreneurship. And I believe that is how we solve all of the big challenges that we as humanity are facing, is through spiritual or conscious entrepreneurs solving problems for other people and for humanity. And so that's been my guiding light ever since. And that was what led directly to Simplero, because I was like, I need to teach my insights to other entrepreneurs, both because they're suffering, right? We all know as entrepreneurs, you're an entrepreneur, like the emotional roller coaster of entrepreneurs is almost a proverb or something, right? It's like, like you get me good news, you're like, hey, elated and excited. You get bad news and you're like, oh, I'm the worst person in the world, right? So there are so many of these tools mentally, emotionally, being able to be in the present moment, being connected to your life purpose, opening your heart to love and sharing love, and realizing that like the money or the future destination is not what brings you happiness. What brings you joy and happiness is being in the present moment and doing great work and being of service to people. That's what makes us happy every day, right? That's the only thing that counts. So I was like, I need to teach other entrepreneurs because they need it. And it's how we solve all of the big challenges that humanity's facing. And so that's what led me to Simplero. I was just a software engineer and entrepreneur. And I was like, well, how do I teach stuff? I don't know anything about that. I discovered online courses. I was like, this is amazing. I can do that. But the software sucks. Let me build better software. And that's what led me down this path.
A quick follow-up on that, because I think it's super interesting also sort of having an insight into how you were thinking. You brought up this idea of the importance of, looking into the now and being very present there. And on the other hand, you continuously, evolving and building up the business. Like, how do you keep evolving and being happy in the moment? What's your solution to that? How do you deal with that, basically? Because you have to improve yourself if you want to progress. So it's hard to stay in the moment. Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, it's all about really being, there is that future that you're envisioning, right? That you're pulling towards. And so that gives rise to the sense of like dissatisfaction that or desire that you want to go there. I call it satiated desire. So like there is that desire and you want to drive that, but you want to really enjoy that feeling of the drive of the desire. Like a lot of the times desire is pain. Like I desire this, like whatever it is, this new gadget or like money or beautiful girl or like whatever it is, right? Sex, whatever we desire, food. And then once you satiate that desire, it feels really good, but it actually feels really good just because the pain went away, not necessarily because it felt great in itself, right? So the trick is to learn to really appreciate the moment and just find those that center of gratitude or love or positive feelings in the moment, in the day to day, as you're building towards the future. Because that's, I mean, the moment is the only thing that we have. It's really hit home to me some years ago. I got an email from a guy named Eric who had been reading my blog, and he'd just gotten an exit offer, an acquisition offer for his software company for $300 million. And he was writing me because he was out of his mind. He was more depressed than ever before. And the reason why was this is what he had strived for his entire life, right? That big payday, money, fuck you money, right? You can live on the beach and just do whatever you want for the rest of your life. And the moment it became real to him, like he hadn't signed it, but the offer was there and it was there for him to take. He realized it wouldn't make me one iota happier. It really wouldn't. It would actually probably quite the opposite, make me unhappy. And now I'm still like the same person. I still have all the same problems, all the same unhappiness inside, but now I no longer have a strategy for how to be happy.
Gotcha.
So it's that realizing that like happiness is never going to come in the future. Like all the things that we think are going to give us happiness in the future are really not. Happiness is a skill that we have to learn in the moment. What brings us happiness right now? The present moment is the only moment that we can ever be happy in.
Very good. I'm trying to do the flip back to to the website where we started talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
I'm curious, like, where do you see room for improvement? Like, you obviously you learned a lot with the interviews. Like, what is something that's struck out to you in terms of, that you guys want to improve for the website?
Well, the design right now, just I mean, concretely for us, so we had a very feminine brand, like flowery tree, like very sweet and nice and stuff. And we deliberately went a very masculine direction. So now the website is like black and white and red and like very sort of the font and everything else has a very masculine look. And it was intentional at the time. We wanted to kind of shock people a little bit and shock the company and the team and be like, hey, we're done being this very feminine company, which was part of my own journey. Was like I was a very feminine man and I was like I had to reclaim my own masculine side and install that into the company, which has been phenomenal. It's been really great on all levels, right? It's not like that. The feminine, by that I mean like that sense of purpose and mission and love and the spirituality and all that stuff, but there was no structure. There's no clear focus or direction or like goals or like metrics really for much of anything. And so installing all of that has been super helpful. We haven't lost the other piece, but we've added that. So it's very intentional to drive it very much in that masculine direction to make it very publicly visible. And now we want to land somewhere in the middle. With the new design. And that's, I mean, one of the feedbacks that we've gotten from people is like, a little too masculine, guys, which is great. Which is what we were going after. But it wasn't really intended to last as long. And I think also for me as a founder, last time we did it, I wasn't that closely involved. I have never really sat down and figured out like, hey, what do I want the website to look like? What are other people in the space or in other spaces doing? Like, what do we know about what a great converting website looks like? And so that is something that I've sat down and studied now. So clear paths for, like, as you guys are working with, right? Cold traffic, warm traffic, hot traffic, like where do they go? And thinking through those customer journeys on the site, depending on making sure that there's something for everyone and that there is sort of an intended path through it.
Interesting. One last question on the website there, because it has been quite an interesting discussion on recent podcasts as well. You have the schedule a demo button, and you have the basically the button to get started now, right?
Mhm.
How do they sort of coexist, and how do they co-live on the same website and next to each other? Are they for different people? Are they just different journeys? Like how do you think about that?
Yeah, so the way I think about it is number one, right now our trial experience actually sucks. If it's just honest talk here, right? Like if you sign up for a trial and we don't that flow, that first user experience or that like onboarding experience of getting people up and running, because the product is so broad and does so many things, there's not like one aha moment, excitement, success moment that we necessarily need to get people to. Um, that we can know consistently is going to work for everybody. So that's been a challenge, and we're going to be addressing that challenge. But what we found out is that every single one of those 15, 20 best fit customers I interviewed, they weren't starting out when they came to us. They were already in business. They'd already experienced that pain of using 5, 6, 7, 8 different tools, and then they switched over. And so for those people, a demo is actually more useful, right? So like rather than like, here, go knock yourself out, figure it out yourself, versus getting on a call with someone. And it's something that they mentioned too, that we're more of a boutique shop compared to many of the others in the field. And the fact that we're so accessible and that it could get on a call with us and get a demo from one of our team members, or even a demo from someone else who's just a customer and using it. And we might actually do sort of a peer-to-peer demo structure where you can get a demo from someone in a similar niche to your own, showing you exactly how they're doing it. Just, some people are concerned about like competitive issues, which we'll obviously figure out how to address, but we might do something like that because we have a very engaged community, and it's super powerful to like talk to an actual
I think
customer, and you can hear it straight from them, right?
I think that's one of the most powerful demo ideas that I've come across recently. It seems very,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Great. I would love to hear a little bit about the background, right, of the company. So if we're looking behind the curtains of the company, right, how would be sales and marketing structured at the moment, given that you are, basically working with a very interesting and boutique-like setup?
Yeah. So, I mean, team wise, there is none. There's literally no marketing team, no sales team. We have our customer success team. We have our concierge team, which is quite unique. So it's like our white glove, sort of specialized VA services, which is super powerful, that we can just augment your team with experts that know everything about the product and the business model and all of that. And also just the fact that Simplero is so integrated. So like you're on vacation and like something or other happens, like we can always step in and help you out in that way, because it's integrated, and because we have our concierge team who can really dive in deeper. And then we have our engineering team and an admin team, but we don't actually, we had marketing and sales. And it's, for me as an entrepreneur, has been one of my learning journeys, is that I tried to hire for that. But it wasn't like I wasn't involved, but it wasn't until recently that I personally sat down and interviewed these customers. Right now, I'm writing the copy for the website. I'm personally leading that, and so we'll hire someone to do marketing and possibly sales later. We had that, and I basically just let go of them all because it wasn't working. So yeah, so I mean, structurally, it is just. We do the demos, we do trials, and then our customer service team is phenomenal, and it's one of the number one things that everybody was raving about when I was interviewing customers is that our customer service is just unparalleled. We really care. We really connect with people. We really respond quickly and accurately and very helpfully, and so that's essentially what we do. And we try to be super responsive to people. So if there is something that they need that's an easy fix and we can just do it right away, we do that. And you do that. It tends to blow people's minds sometimes, like, oh my God, like, half an hour later, you already implemented this and is out there, which is an amazing feeling all around. So those are the kinds of things that we're focusing on.
Gotcha. Super interesting. Let's switch gears a little bit as we're slowly coming to an end of the interview. I would love to ask you our rapid fire questions where we learn a little bit, about yourself.
Go for it.
What would be the last book that you read?
Last book that I read is Eat Dirt. So this is about gut biome, which is something I'm super fascinated with, the bacteria in our gut. And specifically, like my wife grew up on a farm, and like she deliberately doesn't rinse vegetables too well, because it's like, like we need to eat soil. We need to eat the dirt, assuming that it's been grown, well, nicely in good soil, right? So that whole gut biome thing is something that I'm really interested in right now.
Very good. What would you say is the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Well, it is like the like really cracking in the marketing piece. Historically, so the background here, I'm sorry if I'm answering too long, but the background here is that I got into that online marketing world in 2008, and then kind of opted out because at that time most of people were making a lot of promises that they weren't intended in keeping, and I was just like, I don't really want to be part of this. So I focused on my two passions, which are product and customer service, and really just did that for a long time, and it's been working great. And so, but the marketing side of things, honestly, we've never cracked. And again, is one of the things that customers reflected, like, guys, get the messaging right, get the marketing, the website right, and then like this stuff is really gonna start. You're gonna really see some results from that.
I see. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
I think hiring, just finding great people. We have great people, but it's always a challenge to find those people. You have to sift through a lot to find the gems.
Makes sense. And the very last question would be, if today would actually be the very first day that you're working with and for and on Simplero, what would be the one advice that you would give yourself?
Talk to customers more. Yeah.
Simple and
they can tell you everything that you need to know.
Very good. Calvin, I really appreciate that you took the time with us today, and we're part of Pathway Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting everything we talked about Simplero today, what would be the one single thing that they should remember about the company?
Well, about the company is, probably that like we're here to serve, and we're here to partner with our customers, and that, I mean, is really what brings us joy, is to see that partnership really come to fruition and people blossom.
Thanks a lot for being part of the show.
Thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it.